Hi, welcome back to the Psychology Trading course by Valetax. This is episode 3, and my name is Ryan Ferry, market analyst and global educator, and I have been your tutor for the course. If you're just joining us and you're just watching this video, please make sure you make reference to episode 1 and episode 2 to enjoy the full context of the course. On this episode, we're going to be talking about greed, FOMO, and overtrading. Greed rarely starts with money. It usually starts with dissatisfaction. One trade isn't enough. One win isn't enough. One good day isn't enough. It's always not just enough. The trader always wants more. We have the mindset of just if we can get more, we can finally, afford that new wristwatch, that Lamborghini, that new car, wherever the case may be. It always just starts with one isn't enough. And the constant need creates an emotional instability in a person. And that leads us to the first part of episode 3, where we're going to be talking fully about FOMO, right? So the need for more in its sense, right, is usually more profit, more action, but it eventually leads to less discipline. Because discipline is being able to stay true to one thing over and over again, knowing when to stop, knowing when to start, knowing when to rest, and knowing when to continue. But greed, like I said, isn't just about money. It's your mind saying, we should do more. Let's take one more trade. Or two trades aren't enough. Or I made a loss today. I need to take another trade to make sure I come back. Now, that's greed. You're not just satisfied with the fact that you've made a mistake and you need to learn from it and you should just leave and exit the market, right? Now, the next emotion that we feel is FOMO. And FOMO isn't anything new. It's one of the, most talked about emotional or psychological, flair that every trader has felt, which is the fear of missing out. It's big in the financial world and the financial industry because people do it not just in trading, but even when it comes to stock purchasing, even when it comes to, real estate or whatever, FOMO, the fear of missing out. But usually what happens during FOMO is we are scared or we hurt by watching a trade move without us as traders, right? We had the idea, we saw the setup, but we didn't take it. And now all of a sudden, price is moving without us. The moment price starts to move without you, the next thing your mind tells you is to chase it. You start to run after it, you start to chase it. And suddenly you just feel this pressure, right? Not because the trade is an entirely a good trade. And, when we mean a good trade, we're not just talking about the possibilities or the probability of the trade being a success. No, we mean that did it match your principles, your laws? What are the things, your system? Does it fully match? Sometimes it doesn't really match those things, but just because it looks good. It feels good. And you feel like you missed it. What happens? You jump into the trade because you do not want to miss it. You notice how I said it looks and it feels? Those are two different things because a good trade should look and have, not feel. It should have the characteristics of your system that makes it a good trade because it looks like a good trade. So if it looks like a good trade, right, but it's not, do you understand? And instead it feels like then something is off. So we don't want to base our trading experiences off feelings, but we want to know that it's a good trade. And how do we know? It needs to match everything that our system says it should, right? So when we enter a trade, right, that we didn't take or we do not know, and we just feel there's a good trade, well, you automatically lower your standards. And by lowering your standards, you already put yourself in harm's way because now your stop loss margin is wider. You most likely would have entered with the wrong lot sizing because you're going to be disobeying every possible rule that you've already set in place. So automatically your system falls into shambles. And when you take that loss, it's going to hit you like a very bad breakup, right? The next thing is overtrading. People sometimes mistake overtrading for opening multiple positions. They say, oh, you're taking too many positions. That's overtrading. No, that's not really what overtrading is. Overtrading is often misunderstood a lot of times. It's not simply, like I said, taking many trades. It's basically taking trades that do not meet your standards. When you trade without setups, when you trade out of boredom, you trade to feel involved instead of trading because there's a plan, instead of trading because, the market is presenting an opportunity that fits and aligns with your goal as a trader. That is where you start over trading. So the market doesn't longer become a business. It's not longer work to you. It's not something that it's important at that point in time. It starts to feel like a simulation to you. So you're highly overstimulated. It starts to feel like you're just game betting. You're just playing games on your phone, right? But when you have a system that tells you and you have things that you look out for and you know them by their characteristics that you've put in place, you've back tested, you've checked, you're not taking random trades. You're not trading out of boredom. You're not just going to the market because you need to trade. You're not trading out of a place of pressure, right? You're not trading out of a place of excitement or fun. You understand that this is serious business and you are trading clearly. Then you're not over trading. But the moment you lose all of these things and you're trading just because every other person is trading, even when you do not have a setup, you're trading because you just want to click the buy and sell button, that becomes over trading. So even if you have multiple positions open on your P&L profile, at the end of the day, it's because you saw an opportunity to take a trade and you knew what you were doing. Multiple positions are, in fact, a trading style for some people. So they do not have to, close partials. They could just take out some positions. So that's okay. But when it is being done without setup, it's done impulsively out of emotions, out of feelings, then you're over trading. And that would make you lose clarity as a trader and could put you into a deep losing streak for a very long time, right? So we do not want our trading to become entertainment. We want it to be a job, which it is. It's a business, and we need to treat it as such. Now, there's an activity trap, right? The activity trap is what a lot of intermediate traders go through. So, as a beginner trader, you're still learning, you're still trying to make sense of it. But for intermediate traders, they tend to fall in the activity trap. What does the activity trap looks like? The human brain likes action, and action feels productive. Waiting sometimes feels like you're being lazy. So a lot of intermediate traders do not know how to sit on their hands. They don't know how to wait for the right setup. But in trading, waiting is often the highest paying skill. To learn to sit and wait for your edge to come. It's not impatience. It kind of feels like impatience, but it's not impatience. It's the idea that I am supposed to be trading, but I can't find a trade. So you intentionally start to make your brain look for possible trades to take, whereas there is no real edge. There's no setup that matches your system. But because your brain has been overly stimulated and your body needs that action to make you feel like, yes, you're being a trader, you're in front of your screen, you need to click a button to buy and sell. Now, when you start to force the market, you start to look for things that are not even there. That's when you start to remember one old strategy that was existing that you learned when you were a beginner 2 years ago, and now you're automatically trying to implement it on the chart just because you're trying to find an entry to make a trade. More trades do not equal more profits. I need you to understand that more trades do not equal more profits. The more trades you take without proper execution or edge in the market, it only destroys the quality of the trader you're becoming. Because overall, like I stated in episode 2 and 1, confidence is built by actively repeating the right things and sticking to your plan. You get better confidence. And if you keep making the same mistake over and over and over again, it becomes who you are. It becomes a habit. So if you keep yourself in this activity trap where you think you always need to place a trade, then it's going to become a habit for you and it's going to be a bit difficult for you to get out of it. But I'm going to tell you how to break all of this in the next slide and how to correct this. So how do we correct this? First things first, when it comes to correction, is you don't correct something by immediately stopping it. It's going to take a while, but in correction, it means that you have to use good habits to replace the bad habits. You don't just eliminate the bad habit. It means that you have to consciously make the decision to do the right things, and over time, they would compound and the bad things would keep declining till the good habits take over your nature, right? So every trade you take should have a reason. And you should understand that not every move in the market is yours to catch. You can't catch every move in the market. You can't trade all the peers at the same time, right? So every trade should have a reason. Have a couple of pairs that you want to pay attention to. If you do not find a setup, you do not find a setup. And it's okay to not have a trade every day, right? Even the banks don't have a trade every day. So every entry should earn its place. You don't just enter a trade randomly. You wait for alignment. The goal isn't to trade more, but to trade less and execute better. So if you have only 3 good trades in a week with good confirmations and executions, and you win 2 out of those 3, you have a better risk to reward ratio on your portfolio, which shows how disciplined and confident you are as a trader. Selectivity becomes your superpower, and your patience becomes your most identified and unique skill. So select a few pairs, be patient with them, and execute better, and then let your profits return back into the market. So not trading every day doesn't make you less of a trader. It makes you even a better trader. Not trading when you can't find a setup and trying to force a setup doesn't make you a better trader. What makes you a better trader is understanding that there's no setup for me at this moment. But when I do see my setup, I would be at the top of a building like a sniper, and all I'm doing, waiting for that trade, is gauging the wind for the perfect shot. And that is how you actually become that stealth trader that you're trying to be. And I'll see you in episode 4 of the psychology trading course. So remember, if you've not watched episode 1 and 2, please click the playlist of this video to watch episode 1 and 2 to have a better understanding and also learn more from the previous episode. If you're following, please do well to subscribe, hit the like button, and share to a friend. Don't forget to trade with Valetax.